Well, hello, and welcome to the weather update. It's 8:30 on July 9th, 2019, and bad air quality today out there. And temperatures, it's muggy on top of all of this. So you can see we have an air quality alert in effect for us. And if we take a look at the air quality alert, you will see that it is in effect from 11 a.m. Wednesday to 11 p.m. Wednesday. It's Connecticut. Let's see the one from New York. So 11 a.m. still the same time, and this is all for our metropolitan area because of the air pollution levels are elevated. They're only talking about the ozone, uh, but the smoke is also an issue because if we look at the high-resolution satellite, you will see the smoke over our area today. It was quite thick, very, very hazy, very poor air quality over Long Island. If you headed a little north into New England, maybe there's a little less, but there's another cloud heading their way too, and you can see the smoke is thick. So again, this is the smoke here, showing up very easily on the very easy to see on the satellite. The smoke, and it's all coming from Canada. Now I'm hoping maybe these look like some storms here. Maybe there's some heavy rain. Maybe it could make its way into Alberta and put some of these fires out. I'm hoping. But then we still have the fires over Alaska too going. So if we remove some of these, you should be able to see. Look at this. So look at these fires burning completely out of control in Alaska. I've never seen so much smoke coming out of Alaska. So this smoke thing is going to be an ongoing issue, unfortunately. Look at this. So if we get air from Alaska, we're going to be dealing with this smoke. And just look, because it's been so hot there. It's been so hot there, and the forests are just burning. So look at all that smoke right there. This is just not looking good. The only area where you can really get some clear air in, yeah, the Southwest. If you're in Flagstaff right now, you're getting some good weather, but we're stuck in this just murky garbage that we are in with all this smoke, and it's also the air. It's also uncomfortable outside too, as far as the temperatures and the humidity go. So here's another look at the smoke, so you can see. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to pause it right there. And you can see, just look at how thick the smoke is. I'm going to zoom this in and show you. Because, I tell you the truth, today I just felt sick. Look at this. Look at how thick this is. This is not good to be having in the air at all, whatsoever. It's not good for our lungs. It does not affect the planes. One of my viewers, no, it's not going to affect the planes. I don't think it's smoke can affect the. It would have to be really thick smoke. Really thick. But volcanic ash can, because volcanic ash is different composition, and volcanic ash, as bad as smoke is to breathe in, volcanic ash is sharp because it's like little pieces of glass, and it'll melt inside a jet engine and cause problems, and it also gets in our lungs and causes damage to our lungs. So volcanic ash is worse, obviously, but the smoke is still not good to breathe in, and we're just dealing with this disgusting smoke that is over our area. So let's take a look at some of the observations and see what temperatures have been like across our area today. So temperatures fortunately have dropped. We have a little more of a sea breeze now, so it's down to 77 at Farmingdale, but it's humid. The dew point is 66, and Farmingdale got up to 86 today. And we're going to look at Islip as well and see what Islip got up to. So look at the dew point is already 70 at Islip, so quite humid. Temperature 77. Once the dew point reaches 70, that's oppressive humidity. So hit mid-80s there. And if we go and we look at New Jersey, we'll look at Toms River, because Toms River wasn't quite as hot today as it normally would have been. Let's see, it's 78 there, but the dew point's even higher at 72. Let's see what Toms River got up to. 89. Now they still tried to get up to 90 today, so still the hottest spot in our area, of course. And we have a lot to talk about with the weather, because once again we have this very poor air quality in effect. And I want to look at the Ventus sky. I'm going to show you what's going on right now across Long Island. So temperatures have dropped into the 70s, but you still have a little more heat in New Jersey. And I want to pull this all the way out to show you what's going on in Alaska, so you get an idea of how hot it's been over there. So here's Alaska. Look at this. So we are looking at Alaska, folks. This is the Ventus sky. Let me get this a little more centered. We're looking at Alaska. Look at these temperatures. 89, 91, 90s throughout much of the state, and this heat. And I feel so bad for the people living there. They're dealing with this heat, and they're dealing with really thick smoke, thicker than what we are dealing with. And it's really just terrible what's going on there. It really is terrible. And if we look at the humidity, it's kind of humid there too. Let's look at these dew points. Along the coast, it's a little more humid. Inland, it's not, and it's dry, and that's obviously fueling the fires and making things really, really bad. There's just really just we are witnessing just the climate crisis happening right before our very eyes, and yet nobody seems too alarmed about it. It's just unbelievable. Nobody in the United States, anyway. The only channel that really seems to really talk about it is the Weather Channel. And fortunately, for us folks on Verizon Fios, we got the Weather Channel back. So I'm very happy about that. So let's go back into our area here and take a look at the dew points. And we'll look at the dew points in our area and see what we're dealing with. So you can see dew points are rising into the mid-70s, low 70s. And it's only going to be up from here, unfortunately, when it comes to these dew points. And the reason why, we're going to go right back to the Weather Service page in a minute and take a look at the marine observations. So we're going to look at the marine observations and see what the water temperatures are offshore, actual observed water temperatures. All right, so we are going to first start off with the buoy south of the entrance at the entrance to New York Harbor. And the buoy there is reading a water temperature of 74 degrees. In fact, let's just go to the summary. This makes it easier. So, we look at the summary here. Let's see what we have here. Water temperatures. Sea temperatures. I don't know why it's not listing the sea temperatures here. I don't know if those are sea temperatures or air temperatures. That's air temperatures. So sea point temperatures might be missing on this one. So there's the 74. Fire Island, the water temperature 73. South of Montauk Point, the water temperature 72. And off Barnegat, New Jersey, the water temperature is 76. So yeah, we have some high water. We've talked about this before. And before I get into the forecast, I want to talk about what happened in Washington, D.C. yesterday. And we're going to actually go into the forecast office that covers that area. I think it's Wakefield, Virginia that covers it, because there was, I think it's Wakefield. I think that's their weather forecast. No, maybe it's Baltimore, Washington. Okay, so what happened yesterday? There was a tremendous amount of rain that fell yesterday in Washington, D.C. A thunderstorm just kind of parked itself over there, and I'm looking for the Reagan National Airport. We can find that. We need to find the Reagan National Airport. So, yesterday we're going to look at see how much rain fell there, because they got, see this rain here, they got 3.44 inches. That was in an hour or less. So they had a lot of flooding there, and so I want to look and see if we can find some of the public information statements from this office to talk about here. We can actually look at their Twitter. Actually, that might even be better. So let's just look at their Twitter. It'll be easier to find it that way. Alright, so here are some images. Here is this high precipitation supercell that was picked up on the radar right there. Look at that. Have all this humidity. Rain totals of 3 to 6 inches were in a band only about 15 miles wide, but extended in a path along 100 miles long. And yes, the White House wound up having some flooding too. Will this wake up the people in Washington, or will we need more flooding in Washington? So here's a good image of this is the graphic I wanted to show you here. I wish I could make that larger, but I guess we're just going to have to do it this way. So you can see here that we have these rainfall amounts here, and some of these up here, look at that, 5.30, 6.30. So there's a tremendous amount of flooding. And Washington, D.C. is actually fairly low-lying. So Washington, D.C. is actually a spot where we could see a major natural disaster. Let's say a hurricane comes and sits over this area and floods it out. It's not that I want to see it happen, but you know, it may be the only way to wake these people up in Washington as to how serious this climate emergency is. They got to stop listening to what Wall Street has to say and start listening to what this planet has to say. So let's go and look at the models now and see what we have coming our way. So we'll be looking at this weekend. We're going to be looking at the temperatures and seeing how the temperatures will be responding here to the building ridge in the east. So we're going to look at the GFS here and see how our temperatures are going to be having. So you can see the urban heat island right there actually showing up pretty nicely. As we go into tomorrow, yes, tomorrow is going to be hot. You'll see temperatures near 90 on the north shore, maybe in the middle of the island. You can see a little bit shading there in the middle of the island of some 90-degree temperatures. And well to the 90s for New Jersey and New York City probably as well. And then we go into Thursday. We see a little more relief on the island because of increasing clouds. We'll talk about the chance of showers for later Thursday. Probably still going to hit 90 in Jersey. Friday, the heat really is cranking in Jersey. Maybe not. And Long Island will be the same thing. I think if you can get by the water, it'll be a sea breeze. South Shore, East End, you know the deal. And then for Saturday, we see temperatures right around 90 again. So it stays a little above normal. About 5 degrees above normal. And looks like maybe Long Island is spared from the 90s on Sunday, but we see some more 90s here. So GFS seems to it seems to be the GFS always seems to like to back off a little bit on the heat a little bit. We'll go into next week here, Monday, July 15th. Again, most of the heat's over New Jersey. Same thing for Tuesday, maybe a little cooler. Let's move it along here. Wednesday, Wednesday looks good. Could be a brutal mid-90s. But the GFS always seems to push this in the long range, I notice, and then kind of backs off a little bit. But we'll have to see if these temperatures are realized on Thursday in the mid-90s. I sure hope not. It does not look like there would be a sea breeze that day either. It might even hit 100 in Toms River, and then backs off again for Friday. But that's in the long range, and if you look at some of the other models, it doesn't really show up on those models. So let's go and look at the dew points because that's what's going to make it feel obviously more uncomfortable. And like today, dew points didn't start off too bad, but now it's getting humid. And as we head into Wednesday, we're going to see more humidity tomorrow. Dew points into the 60s. This is kind of underestimating the dew points, though. I notice it seems to be underestimating them a little bit. It's been a little higher than what this model is saying, so we may have to look at another model. May not be handling the humidity as good because I think it'll be a little more humid than that tomorrow. And then Thursday, we see a lot more humidity coming up. But there should be a stronger south wind, and that should keep the temperatures down, but the humidity higher. And then Friday, we see a lot more humidity, and then it kind of, you can see what looks like a front trying to pass through. And maybe it does. Maybe we manage to actually have a nice day on Saturday. Maybe. We'll have to see about that. Dew points are lower, so the dew points go down to the mid-50s. And then Sunday, we start seeing those dew points creep back up again. On Monday, they drop. Tuesday, they come back up again with that south flow, and then Wednesday and Thursday are going to be those really brutal days, perhaps. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. That's a ways away as far as the dew points go. I'll look at another model here, the NAM model, and see how that handles the dew points, because I think the GFS has just been a little too dry. Let's go into tomorrow. This is a little more realistic, I think. We're going to have dew points. Probably, it all depends on where you are. You know, if you're on the south, then you're going to have higher dew points. If you're north, you're going to have lower dew points. But it's still going to be a little on the humid side, I think. Maybe not super humid, but humid enough. And Thursday, we see the dew points come up a lot more. We have that stronger south flow, and you can clearly see what looks like a front there. Alright, so that's where we're going to now go to look at the precipitation and see. That would probably be our next chance of precipitation. It's been actually kind of dry, except for a few select areas like that where those thunderstorms hit on in Ocean County and Atlantic County a couple of days ago. It's been dry. So Wednesday, no rain for Wednesday. Thursday, we start seeing that chance. So here is that front that comes through, and this is as far as it goes. So I'll have to see. It doesn't not look like there's going to be a widespread rain because we're starting to see more brush fires. And there's actually a small brush fire, another small fire in the Wyandanch, and I'm wondering because there's some pine barrens between Pineland and Wyandanch, and I'm wondering if it was in that spot. I can't get any details on that fire. It was just I just saw about it on Long Island Railroad Twitter, and no coverage from News 12 about it as usual. News 12. Yeah, you know what they were talking about today. I don't have to tell you what they're talking about because you know what they were talking about. So, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what happens. So let's now look at the clouds and let's see what the skies will be like. Unfortunately, it doesn't pick up the smoke I'll have to use a different model for that. So Wednesday, we're going to have a lot of clouds around probably. Not going to be a clear day. And there's the smoke on top of that. Thursday won't be either. Won't be clear. And we'll go to the GFS now and look at that. So plenty of clouds tomorrow. Thursday, plenty of clouds. And that's the thing. The clouds, the increasing clouds, chance of showers. We'll probably keep the temperatures down, but the dew points will be up there. And you can see there's that front. If we can get that front offshore, and it looks like we can get it offshore, maybe we'll have a clear day on Saturday. But that's a maybe. That's a big question mark because we don't know about the smoke. And that smoke could screw up our plans. Maybe some sunshine for Monday, Tuesday, and I'm not going to go any further than that. So I guess we'll go and look at the Earth and old school model and look at the smoke situation because it's the only model that seems to have. This is one of the sites here that is really good when it comes to tracking the smoke. All right, so we are going to do just exactly that. We're going to go to particles, PM10, and take a look at the smoke. Though I think this is kind of underestimating it a little bit. May have to look at a different one. Carbon monoxide. Yeah, this is a better. I think this is a better. Yeah, we'll look at the carbon monoxide. CS. No, that's not the one. Carbon monoxide, sulfur. All right, so this is where products. This shows you where the products of combustion are coming from. So when you look at this, you can see the products of combustion over Alaska and over these fires here in Alberta, and the smoke just drifting over our area and kind of like getting concentrated a little bit. So we're going to move this ahead and see if we can, we're going to go a day ahead each and see if we can get some relief from this. So tomorrow it's still around. What about Thursday? Still around, maybe improves a little bit on Thursday with that strong south flow. It's probably pushing it back up. And yes, we have to talk about that too. Yes, we have to talk about a tropical system as well. Told you there's a lot to talk about. So we're still dealing with the smoke on Friday. Saturday, yeah, it's still going to be around. It's not going anywhere because these fires are still going. So it's hard to predict what's going to happen this far out, and then we don't have data any further out. So it's really hard to predict what's going to happen this farther out. So now, lastly, we're going to go back to Alaska, and then I just want to get some observations from Alaska here. We're going to take a look at some observations here. Let's first look at Fairbanks and see what's going on in Fairbanks as far as the weather goes. And then we'll look at a couple of cities in Alaska, and then we're going to talk about that tropical system. So it's 85 degrees, and you can see they're reporting smoke. So they're reporting smoke. You got to remember the days are much longer up there, so they have a lot more sunshine. So when you have this warm air up there, it does a lot of damage. Imagine the sun being out 20 hours a day. That's what you're dealing with. So 85 with smoke at Fairbanks, and let's take a look at another city in Alaska, Anchorage. And let's see what they're dealing with in Anchorage, Alaska, as well. So they're probably reporting smoke too. Yep, smoke, a little cooler, 73. And you can see just the forecast, smoke every day, areas of smoke. So they're really just socked in with the smoke over there. It's terrible, and the lack of reporting from the mainstream media on what's going on there is really just tragic and outrage. But, you know, the mainstream media controlled, especially here in New York. The mainstream media is really controlled heavily by Wall Street. So we'll look at one more site. Let's look at Nome. It's supposed to be colder in Nome, Alaska. Usually it's colder over there. Oh, my gosh. Even in Nome, it's 79 degrees. Oh, my God. This is like in the Arctic Circle almost. Look at that, 79 degrees. That is crazy. Look at that. This is a climate crisis, folks. This is a climate crisis. So now let's go to the tropics, and we're going to talk about Invest 92L, a very unusual storm. We're going to look at a satellite loop of this right here. You can see it starting to get going. You see the circulation now starting to develop over the Gulf. Now here's the weird thing about this storm. The circulation started over land and kind of drifted over the Gulf. And this is all because we have these weak steering winds due to the, weak wavy jet streams that we have. So the storm is taking a very unusual track. So we're going to look at the models and see is the storm info. I don't see a chart from the Hurricane Center, which is kind of surprising. But we'll go back to the models, and we're going to now take a look at the Gulf Coast and see. We're going to change this to the Gulf Coast now. So here we can just make this Eastern U.S. That's good. And you can see if the GFS picks up on this at all or not. So Here we go. It looks like it does pick it up. And there you go. It rapidly intensifies this thing. And it looks like it's heading right for New Orleans. Look at that. And this could be really bad. So let me see if we can get a little closer on this here. Change the region a little bit because I'd like to get a little closer to this. It's South Central. Yeah, we can use this. That's fine. So here you go. This storm, just by the end of the week, this storm is rapidly intensifying, and it's going to take its sweet time raking across the Gulf Coast. And this could become a hurricane, a major hurricane at this point. And again, when you have water temperatures, the water temperatures in this area are near 90 degrees. That's plenty enough to supercharge this thing really quickly and have it take off. So, and we're going to look at the amount of rain this thing is going to drop, because there's going to be a lot of rain from this thing. And we're going to look at the amount of rain. We're going to actually look at the total accumulated precip here. And the amount of rain is probably staggering. Oh, yeah. Could be a foot, 1 to 2 feet of rain. Yes, that's 1 to 2 feet of rain. We're not talking about snow. We're talking about rain across New Orleans. And these are areas flood very easily. So this could be a major disaster in the making for this area. It's too bad it's not over Washington, D.C. I would much rather it be over there. It would wake some of the people up there into really maybe doing something when the White House and the capital is underwater. Maybe then they'll finally wake up and realize that we're in a climate crisis. Maybe then they'll finally wake up and realize. I'm sorry for the rant, but I'm really getting fed up with the lack of urgency from the media. Seriously, screw Wall Street, all right? We're losing this planet. I don't give a crap about what happens to Wall Street, all right? What I do give a crap about is this planet, all right? So, I'm sorry, and I know I'm going to get some hate for that. I don't really care, all right? I don't really care, all right, at this point. I feel bad for the people in Louisiana who are going to be dealing with this, all right? So, we're going to look at the wind, so let's take a look at the wind at the surface. So we can use this here. It's MLSLP and 10 millimeter wind. So now we're going to look at the winds that this is going to generate, all right, because there's going to be some pretty strong winds, all right? So we have winds up to 50, 60, this is not even gusts, all right? 62 miles an hour. We're going to look at a couple of models here. So this is the GFS. Now we're going to switch it over to, well, the NAM doesn't go far enough out, so we can't look at it on the NAM. What we can do, however, is look at it on another model called the Euro. Well, I'd rather use Windy for that. So let me go to windy.com, and we'll look at this thing getting going here, all right, because this is quite a storm that's going to develop. All right, so here is the area that will be affected, all right? And Windy has the Euro overlaying, so we're going to actually go ahead and move this up to Thursday and see how this storm starts. So here it is. It's taking shape. Here's the storm right here taking shape. You can see the circulation and the wind gusts up here in the red. I don't know what the scale is for this. Wind sustained in the red are at 40. And if we look at wind gusts, look at that. You already have gusts over 60 miles an hour. So this thing could be a hurricane by Thursday. According to this, it's going to be very close to a hurricane. And then let's move it along to Friday now. And here you go. So here it is. So here is the wind. And look at that. You're going to have winds in the purple. So you have winds definitely probably hurricane force. Could be a Cat 1, maybe Cat 2. We move it along a little more. And here is the wind. So the wind is coming really, really intense wind here, buffeting New Orleans. This could be Katrina all over again. I'm so glad I have the Weather Channel now so I can follow this. So you can see some of these really strong ones that are going to be affecting the area. And this is going to be a bad, bad storm. Right? And this is at landfall. So now we're going to move this over to wind gusts. So if I click on, I don't know if it's going to actually tell us 88 knots. Can we change that to miles per hour? 88 knots. It's up there. That's all I know. It's up there. All right. It's up there. So I don't know why it gives us knots and not miles per hour, but this is a serious storm that could affect the Gulf Coast, and of course I'll keep my eye on it. You know, and you can see how big it is too. Look at how big the area. Look at the area it takes up. So you know, these hurricanes, these fires, this is all a sign of a planet that is crying out for help right now. And, I don't care what Wall Street thinks. I really don't care what Wall Street thinks, all right? I really don't care. And it's time for the government in this country to give it, just forget about Wall Street. We have a climate crisis going on. I don't care about Wall Street. I don't care about big oil. What I care about is the climate crisis we're in. And we need to do something now about it. All right? And, I don't care how many times I'm going to rant about it. I'm going to rant about it because this is a real serious emergency we're in. And people need to start taking it seriously. This could be it for us. This could be the end of our civilization if we don't address this really soon. Anyway, that's it. Take care.